Hey guys, in this video we will be making this tiny Star Wars diorama. Found this tiny cheap Xwing model made by Revell for about 10 bucks. I couldn't resist picking it up. Now to start off with, I made the model and I found some random pieces from another tiny jet model to make some of the landing gear because it wasn't included. I just super glued those on. After I attach this landing gear, we'll prime the model black. Now when the black layer is dry, we'll add a white Sandoval highlight on the top. As you can see, the bottom is dark and the top is light. Now to add some variation to the model, we'll paint several panels in different shades of gray and yellowish gray. We also painted the inside of the cockpit completely black. Now the next step is to apply a dark wash over the entire model to get some of these details really nicely pronounced. After I let the wash dry for a bit, we'll clean most of it off with some thinner and a Q-tip. This way it only stays in the cracks and crevices, so you get those nicely defined body panels. After this step, we'll add some light gray on a dry brush and just dry brush the entire model and make sure we hit all the edges, the panels and the sticky out bits of the engine covers and stuff like that. Next up is painting some of the markings on it. Everybody knows the standard color is red, so I wanted to do something else and make this part of the blue wing of Xwing fighters. I also paint some light sand color on some of the other panels to make them look a bit more worn. Next up, we'll start chipping. We'll use a sharp object as well as some gray paint to just add some chips around all of the edges of the blue paint to give it that typical Star Wars rugged ship look. And here we have the base model complete. Now for the base itself, I'm using this old picture frame and a piece of foam. I start out by putting the model on the foam and then using a pen and a ruler, I just mark out some of the tiles that are going to be on the floor. First of all, mark out the position of the landing gear though. The areas I fill in here will be covered with some grass and foliage. Next up is cutting some grooves into the tiles and then pressing down some of the terrain around it with my ruler. For the texture on the tiles, because they're a bit too clean now, I'm just using these 3 pebbles. I just roll them around, press them in there, just make it random. Now for some of the details of the scene, I just got some random bits from other model kits and some random plastic parts to make some kind of refueling station. I just super glued them down onto the model while also checking with the Xwing in place to see how it looks. Next up, I prepare the natural area by applying some glue so I can put some of the foliage on there. On the other side, I wanted to apply some static grass, so I just added some tacky glue and applied the grass. I also added some spots of greenery growing in between the tiles. Now that I'm happy with the basic layout, I'm gonna prime the entire thing black. and then top that off with a white highlight layer again, just like the Xwing model itself. And just for my own reference, I add the shadow back into the scene so I know where the Xwing goes. Now for the tiles on the ground, I wanted to have a stone look. So I mixed a variety of gray colors in different shades and just watered it down a lot and painted over the basic gray color on the stones. Every single tile has a different amount of paint applied, so they're all slightly random from each other. Once set dried up, I used a lighter variant of the same paint and dry brushed it onto all of the stones to unify them a bit more. As for the bushes on this side, I applied several layers of green paint, every time just making a lighter shade. Next up, we paint the refueling hose and the little greebly bits white as well. Now, to make these stones look more natural, we're going to add a bunch of stains and scratches and dust effects. You can either use watered down paint for this, or in this case I'm using a brown wash and later on a black wash as well. And to top it off, I'll add a dust layer with some sand color pigment. And then finally we add the shadow for the Xwing landing gear back again. Now I made a few tiny things off screen, like this little red ladder and the R2 unit that we'll be placing. We'll also give the greeblies a little bit of an accent color here in red. This could be the port where the refueling droid, for instance, would attach. And then to attach our little red droid friend. Now to finish off the diorama, I paint the frame that it's going to rest on completely black. And also the sides of the foam, I'll also paint black. Once the frame is dry, I'll put some glue on the other side of the foam and place the diorama exactly in the center. And I think we can call this complete. I'm really happy how this turned out. It's a super simple diorama, nothing special. This little kit was only $10 and just one night of fun. I hope you like watching this and it inspired you to make your own tiny Star Wars dioramas. And if you're interested in some of my other work, you can check me on Instagram at DutchGuyMakesModels or check out my other videos here on YouTube. For now, thanks for watching.